Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wargame Cup. My name is Troublemaker, and this is a NATO versus NATO match representing the color blue and also NATO. His name is Dirty D, and representing the color red and NATO, his name is PandeX. So, we're on the last day of the tournament, and people are desperately trying to get their games in. Here's an interesting phenomena. High level rated players are getting stood up because people realize that facing them is pointless because of their ridiculous track record. Isn't that just crazy? Not the case with this matchup. Dirty D, of course, is the high rated opponent here. PandeX definitely showed up for this one though, and immediately getting lots of anti-aircraft all over the place. He has a small group with his command, which leads us to believe that he'll be going for a hotel. It looks like this group might go for India. And over here, we see a small group and another small group. So this small group might be going for Bravo, and this small group might be going for India. We also see another group with a command here. So we're seeing from Dirty D a 3-command strategy, and from PandeX a 2-command strategy. It's absolutely fantastic. Of course, on the full gap, you can very well get away with this. The difference in units will not make such a big difference because the map is huge. There's a lot of easy ways to defend a lot of these locations using very cheap units. And yeah, it's just a big freaking map. All the roads are kind of awkward too. Like, they don't go into nice locations. They always go into like swamps and through all the towns. So very good map to play macro with. Still a very risky play for Dirty D, who looks like he's going for Kilo, India, and Bravo. What a madman he is. There is a Gazelle rushing forward. There is a Roland here though. It can't get too close. If it gets too close, this could be a problem. The Roland not in position to wipe this out, and he's taking position in this little town with all of his infantry. And this is how you would defend these kind of locations. Infantry in these little homes. The front one should be the anti-tank of Milan. And we do see a group of 4 infantry actually rushing this location. They are indeed going to have a surprise. I actually do like how Dirty D is spreading these units out. He has the TPZ Fuchs up here as a spotter. Actually, the augers are just going to get placed into this town, leaving this road relatively closed. And looks like the command needs to get in position. It'll cancel this one. There we go. And this is actually becoming a more and more common strategy. So basically, what Dirty D is doing here is kind of tripping out his opponent. This is something that you don't see a lot of people doing. He's pretending that he doesn't have this 3rd command. So he'll have his location, and this location, and you have this location, this location. And this will cause his opponent to build either a command or more units. His opponent has not gone for the command, but ideally his opponent should have gone for the units, seeing as this situation is Dirty D gets the command in place, just a little bit delayed. It's a small little mind play, an attempt to make your opponent get a bunch of units instead of getting commands for more points. But it's a higher level play. It is entirely possible at this round of the tournament that a move like that is so niche would not have an effect on a person's generic strategy. But we do see that both players are about on even economy, both with 2 bases. And looks like we have a small little skirmish here, and SPPPZ Lux flushing out a TPZ Fuchs, and neither dying. Remember, this is NATO versus NATO, so there's going to be a lot of funny named units. Like Fernspire and Vulcan. I think those are funny sound units. And the map is pretty well split up diagonally right now, which is different. With the big battle zone still being India, these moves by Dirty D are just attempts to get units into random positions for spotting and for flanking. Yeah, but another small engagement here. Cobra catches off this recon. Looks like he will in fact get this recon. Just microing this Cobra very, very well against the Lukes. And looks like the Cobra has a day, but he doesn't chase down the Lukes. And it's just another small little play. A lot of times when people are running, they're running to an anti-aircraft gun, which you always don't want to chase. So looks like we will have a relatively slow game. And you know what we do with slow games? We speed them up. Darn it. Cobra going in for a few more shots on this Lukes. Remember, not wanting to get too pulled away. The Cobra did run out of ammunition, of course. Very, very heavy on supply. Does he have an FOB here? Yes, he does. Good. And he's actually going to go for a 4th command. That's how slow this game's going to be. And oh my god, there's also a 4th command from PandeX. So this game will explode. For the most of this game, it'll be fairly slow. Both players are playing really risky, actually, getting a lot of commands. And looks like we also have a mortar carrier, which is actually very smart on this map, because this central location here is basically where everyone stockpiles a ton of infantry and units. Getting any kind of artillery will be great on this map. If you face on this map ever, it will be a good idea to always go for artillery. Of course, artillery is actually very expensive, and because of that reason, this kind of approach makes sense, where you're going to try and get a bunch of commands and then get the artillery after. Makes a ton of sense. We get the mortar carrier being pushed forward. Looks like he's trying to double command middle. This madman. Of course, that doesn't actually work. Mortar fire pounding on this southern location here. Will anything actually hit? Oh, he's actually going for this Furnace Spire over here. A lot of times people will try not to attack right away because they don't want to reveal their hand. By showing that you have mortar, you're actually, you know, causing some problems for yourself. He does have an extra command here which he's not using, and that's kind of problematic for PandeX, because Dirty D is actually using every single one of his commands, and he's using them quite effectively. And here comes a big array of units coming from him. Lots of these Raritan support vehicles, deploying them all around the map in various locations, wanting to increase his flank size even greater. And we see that both players have actually gone for artillery. We have lots of these AMX OPs for Dirty D and mortar carriers for PandeX. So both players have roughly the same idea of a tactic. And it looks like this command has in fact actually gone back to its original location. This command is actually getting pounded though, and it's forced to pull back, which is kind of weird. But there you go. A small interruption in big points. It moved to a slightly different location. We have mortars actually pounding this southern location though, and this is very dangerous. You can see that PandeX is actually paying out a lot better right now than Dirty D is, just because of the cluster of units that is here. Where would this command be going? For whatever reason, he has suddenly decided this is not a secure location here at Foxtrot. The mortars are firing on this location. There are artillery as well firing. The chieftains chasing down these units, desperately wanting to get these kills. PandeX getting some pretty good wins there. I just don't know why he moved the command. So now the entire northern shelf is under control by PandeX. However, he doesn't really have a good way of defending this. So a lot of OP fire. Looks like we have a lot of units actually pushing forward for PandeX, trying to get a more secure location in the middle. Of course, the middle is actually a better location for Zippos and infantry, just because of their close range proximity. And we actually have another command coming out for PandeX. So this will be a 5-command game for PandeX, and looks like Dirty D is pretty happy sitting on his 4-command strategy. Oh, the Fern Spares and the Fuchs will meet each other. And does he kill them all? He's going to chase them all. Jaggers are out Fuchs have chased down, and he lost one of the Fuchs, so he can't reload these Jaegers, unfortunately. Yikes. Foxtrot will be retaken. And right now it's just a lot of artillery fire versus artillery fire. Pounding this location specifically, where of course the mortar carrier sits with some tanks. And we're seeing a lot of units that haven't actually been seen very much of in this this matchup, specifically these tanks. A lot of these big expensive units, people have been favoring a lot of infantry just because they can hold this middle position better. But in fact, this kind of weird dynamic of high income games has seen a lot of these Leopard 2 tanks, which are quite expensive. They are 145. Holy smokes. So this game could actually end very quickly. It could end with one giant battle at any time. And actually, it's insanely risky to buy any more commands at this point. At this point, it should be only units and only great units. High damage packing units with high veterancy. That's the kind of tactic you want to do when you're doing this kind of high econ play. And you know, I'm not really seeing a lot of units coming out for PandeX, who might just be too worried. Here comes some supply trucks, but that can't possibly be it. We do have a big giant attack coming from Dirty D. Lots of VABs, single VABs as well. This will, of course, get rid of some of the stun effects. And it looks like he's going for Foxtrot. Just doesn't want this command to have position. Running straight through all these Jaegers. He deploys some of the chasseurs, but not all of them. And he continues rushing forward. The command is pulled back. And it looks like he's going all the way. He's going to go straight into Gulf. This is some kind of madness. He has the cheap infantry leading the way. He has some Martyr tank destroyers, some Leopards, some Rolands. He's got the perfect storm of units coming in. And here comes. He's going to drop right on top of the tank. The VABs slowly moving in. Leopard charging up, getting rid of one. The Leopard pulls back to kite effectively. He needs to deploy these infantry desperately before he loses them all, and he does not lose them all. But however, we have some recons and more VABs coming up forward. A lot of units a little bit late on the battlefield, a little bit of disorganization here. The Martyr VTSIs are charging up, trying to wipe out whatever they can. Leopards taking positions, and the Martyr Rolands, of course, are falling to the back just so they kind of support with anti-aircraft fire. And we have some Martyr VTSIs for PandeX coming out as well. This is looking like a very big win for PandeX. All these expensive units are falling over to his expensive units. And wow! This just makes you want to turtle so bad after watching something like this happen. It seems that Dirty D has in fact lost every single one of his units on the map that was involved in this attack. I'm sorry, I tried to make it sound more exciting than it actually was, but yes. Looks like a few units will go down for PandeX, and actually, boom, you know, like 100-point difference now. And lots of artillery fire pounding down on this location. A lot of units desperately on their way routed. The command actually being pulled. And these are actually unarmored commands, so it's kind of scary. And there's another tank gun. The tank wars can continue. Dirty D has taken the lead, but then PandeX has taken back that lead with another shot. And with lots of chasseurs marching up one by one, looks like they are heading to their death. VAB's been picked off. And just a few extra points for PandeX to secure his lead, but this artillery fire is something else, eh? Now, looking at the map, actually, looks like Dirty D has gained a pretty massive economic lead. However, he only has 5 minutes to make a big attack, and trust me when I say these chasseurs moving up one by one will in fact get picked off as they desperately trying to rush forward. I like to call this Russian style. One man gets a gun, the other man gets the bullets, the man with the gun dies, the man with the bullets loads up the gun and fires. And that's exactly what's happening. Actually, the tanks are moving out of position, so these chasseurs might be able to get a little more leg room. But trust me when I say they won't get too much more. PandeX is actually taking a pretty phenomenal lead, and oh buddy, oh Dirty D. Dirty D and Redundancy. There's only a single Chapanel here. Oh, there's a Vulcan here as well, so he's probably covered. This is 6 Cobras. This is a very heavy desperation play. Have they been spotted by that recon? They have in fact been spotted. He knows it's coming. So he's going to be able to ably prepare for this. This should be a shoe-in for PandeX. He should have this. But having said that, the artillery fire hitting a lot of random high power targets, and suddenly it's only a 40-point difference. So this is a relatively scary location here for PandeX, who had a comfortable lead, but because of artillery fire, it suddenly shot back. And look at the collection of aircraft coming up here. We have 6 Cobras, we have 6 Gazelles, we have 1 recon helicopter, and this could actually be too much if he gets enough lucky shots off. Now keep in mind, only the Gazelles really have anti-tank weapons, but they get enough lucky shots off, they can actually change the balance of the game. And it doesn't look like PandeX sees it. He's just not preparing effectively. He isn't. Oh, here we go. The anti-aircraft helicopters are on the way. He in fact does see it coming. Might be a bit too late. All these helicopters are flying forward as my game client lags a little bit. Not really hitting anything just yet. And looks like they want to only go for the big targets. The chasseurs are leading the charge. He's actually pulling his tanks back because he doesn't want to lose any tanks in this engagement. And oh, just think of it as slow motion shots, guys. Don't think of this as me lagging. Oh my god, this could be a murder. A murder for Dirty D if he can get down some of these aircraft, which of course have area of effect splash damage, and he's got to think about separating them. But PandeX is doing a very, very good job of taking down these Gazelles and increasing his lead very, very heavily. And there's a lot of units here that are very much not spread out, just getting shot down by PandeX. It looks like he's going to get a pretty serious win out of this. Of course, all these vehicles here, if they are targeted effectively, could change the tides of the game. But no, all this crazy damage, it looks as though, wait a minute, there's only a Vulcan here. There is 2 anti-aircraft helicopters here as well. It's hard to say. There's a lot. He's actually retreating with the aircraft. That could be huge. It is only still an 80-point difference. Every time a unit gets destroyed, it just swings. It's so heavily. It's hard to even describe that. The tanks are moving forward to try to wipe these chasseurs, and of course that will help very much. And 90-point difference, kind of crazy. Lucky artillery shots here could actually change the tide of this battle, though. We see him moving his tanks back, not wanting to risk anything, and this is kind of the scary situation for PandeX. If he can avoid getting any of these tanks destroyed, he can win the whole game, and he can move on to round 3. However, if any of these tanks die, he is suddenly going to be out about 100 points, which he'll have to make back instantly. Kind of scary how close this game is, how desperation will sink in. We have non-stop mortar fire here, pounding this middle location, trying to rack up any extra points that he can. And both players are just hoping to God that artillery hits something. And of course, he thinks these tanks are still right here, but they're not. They're over here. This is so sketchy, so scary. Hard to say who will win just yet. Martyr Rolands. Looks like they got pushed out by these Martyr VTSIs, which are actually chasing them down. And this is another one of these things that could just change the balance of the game. Martyr Roland 2 will in fact go down. And suddenly it's a 200-point lead for PandeX, and he's feeling a lot more secure. He's actually moving his tanks forward now. He knows that he has a nice, sizable amount of points. And this is the 3 chasseurs are actually moving in a position they could snipe this command. Sniping this command could actually put Dirty D back into the game. Kind of scary. It's all these little things when you get a game this close that matter. And this isn't just a small platoon. This is 3 chasseurs moving forward, and all that's here right now is a Vulcan, and yes, it has anti-infantry. He sees it. He's pulling the command away. He realizes the danger is there, and he's retreating. I think what PandeX's late game strategy right now is largely just to hide his units, make sure that they can't die, which is interesting, of course, because it's very unusual, but it's working. He's gotten a nice lead. His mortar carrier needs to continue firing, needs to continue pounding this location here to try and get extra points so he can get secure. He does in fact lose 1 anti-aircraft, but it was a cheap one, so that's good. The chasseurs are in fact, looks like they're panicking. And they ought to. There's only 12 seconds left in the game. and Gazelles are actually just sitting around doing nothing. It appears that Dirty D has in fact thrown in the towel. Whoa, 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 whoa. We have a Motorola and 2 actually catching anti-aircraft. Oh my god, it is now 20 points, and suddenly madness is happening. Wow. That was so close. But the ending score did go in favor of PandeX, and according to the rules, PandeX does in fact continue on to the next round. Dirty D has been eliminated, and this is actually a crazy upset. PandeX, a 1500 rated player, beating Dirty D, a 2000 rated player. That's madness. That is madness. Both these players played very well, and I look forward to seeing more PandeX games in the future. Thank you guys for watching.